Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And as you can see, we have a new guy here with us, and he happens to be the head football coach at CHS, Justin Jackson. Justin, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we really appreciate you taking time out from practice session to join us, and thank Brent for bringing you, the athletic director at CHS. He's your boss?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you'll get cards in the mail, sympathy cards probably, but anyway, we're really tickled to have you. The kids looking good. They played 2 games, close, both games similar, just a few little things didn't happen go our way.
Yeah, both of them, we talked about them after the game, about what went on. It was just a little bitty mistakes here and there, some of them bigger than others. We took care of our punting situation for the most part in week 2, so we didn't have any blocked punts, but then we had the one that was returned down probably around inside the 5, I believe. So we've been harping on them just kind of to make sure to fix those little mistakes, and as soon as we fix those little mistakes, we're going to be a lot better of a team. Right.
A 2-point loss to the South Dearborn team on Saturday. And then the week before was a 7-point loss to Greensburg. So excellent play, I think. And you kept the fans in the ballgame all the way. They were on the edge of their seat. I mean,
no, I got a lot of comments from people saying that there's some of the more exciting games that they had seen in the last few years. So I'm hoping that we can give them a little bit more of an exciting for a win here in the next couple of weeks, and that'll be good.
Got Russia coming up here this weekend. What are you planning on putting a lot of emphasis on?
Right now, the emphasis for us is just going to be to more focus on us and fix the little things. Looking back at the film, when you look at especially our defense this past week, outside of that touchdown that was given up in the second half when they got down there close, we shut them out. So if we take that first half mistakes that we fix those, we'll be good. Offensively, we're still trying to find our rhythm. We have a lot of young guys playing. We're still trying to kind of find that flow. I think as soon as those guys kind of get in flow and us as coaches get in flow with what we need them to do, we should be in good shape.
A lot of penalties in the ball game, weren't there?
There were a few, yeah. A couple of them was our left tackle was getting a little excited and he was starting to rock forward a little bit, so we just had to tell him to kind of calm down some. But I think that's something that you'll find with a younger team and a more inexperienced team, is that I don't think we've had any dumb penalties yet. A lot of them were just we've had blocking penalties that maybe we just got a little too aggressive into, and like I said, just a couple, here or there's where we got a little too excited. But once I think, like the offense, as soon as we kind of get that cleared up, we'll be in good shape.
Been kind of crazy preseason time, hadn't it?
Yes, very.
I mean, how have you handled that? How have the kids adjusted to it?
The kids have handled it a lot better than I have, I'll tell you that much. I really didn't even get to know the majority of them until July when we finally got going. And then in July we had kids that would have to miss a week here, miss 2 weeks there because of contact tracing. We missed the entire first week of practice because me and a bunch of my staff actually got COVID, so we were out for a week. And then after that, we had another situation where a group of them got knocked out. They've dealt with it great. I mean, it is what it is, and the good thing, I guess, is that you can look around the state and realize that we're not the only team that's dealing with it. It felt like we were at that time, but now that we've kind of, hopefully, knock on wood, got past it, we're seeing other teams that are kind of dealing with the same thing, and I think it's just going to be a reality of this season. I think at this point we've kind of taken the blows of the COVID situation, so if it happens again, hopefully not, but if it does, we'll be able to kind of do what we did before and just keep moving forward.
Brent, I know you're pleased with the reaction that Coach Jackson has with his kids.
Yeah, I think there's been an uptick in practice and a lot of positive comments. Of course, some of that's always going to come with a new coach, but I think they like the quickness and the promptness and the sticking to practice times and doing all the things that everybody's excited about. And I think the kids understand if they come in and work hard, they're not going to be there for a long period of time. They're going to get in, get out, do what they need to get done. And if you watch the game, there's been some good defense. And the offense is coming along. And then if you know anything about football, it's a lot harder to get the offense to puck because you can always hit somebody. Can't always just hit somebody on offense. But I think there's been a lot of positive comments, and just listen to the kids talk and knowing that you're in the ball game right at the end. And both times we were driving in, and last week we scored and just needed to get the 2-point conversion. And there's a lot of things that happened throughout the ball game that caused that 2-point conversion to be needed instead of not just needing a regular extra point. We missed one early in the game, and then just seeing the kids on the field, and from my standpoint, I think they're playing hard, but I'm pleased that there's no unsportsmanlike penalties and taunting calls. And, you see our kids hitting pretty hard, but they still offer to help them up off the ground. And, just as indicated on the last onside kick, we had a pretty good thump at the kid who was catching the ball. Nothing illegal, but it was a pretty good thump. And everybody got up, patted each other on the back, went on, didn't say any words, and didn't get mad. And that's what it's about. It's about sportsmanship and playing hard and knowing that you're still competitors, but you can still be, good sports about the way things happen. So,
Coach,
so far,
one
so
of the
good.
jobs of officials is to protect the kids, isn't it? I mean, because illegal hits and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I know they watch that very carefully because they don't want any of the kids injured.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I think that both crews that we've had so far have done a good job of making sure that it's been good, clean games. And, as coaching staff, too, we're trying to kind of teach that old school football mentality out of them as well. And they've handled it really well, too.
TV3 is at the ball game on Saturday. Let's have some of show you the video from that game. Coach, you can narrate this thing if you want to for us.
Okay. Right here we got the team rolling out. We got those new C's on the jersey. Looks pretty good. This I think this scenario right here where we were down close, this is another situation where we kind of put our defense in a bad scenario. And I think it's just one of those things that we've got to kind of work with that mentality of our guys, that we got to make sure that we're playing hard all the way through, even when it is on the 1 yard line.
South Dearborn is a good team.
Oh, yeah, very good team.
Yes.
Coach Ballard's done a great job at bringing that program back. And that guy right there running the ball, Blake Bartley, I actually had the opportunity to coach him when he was a sophomore at Lawrenceburg.
Okay.
He's a really good athlete. I mean, I'm very pleased that we were able to go in and compete and play with these guys, especially after seeing some of the results that we've seen the last couple years. And that's the guy right there who's going to be a big difference maker for us the next couple years, and Gavin Pearson.
Yes.
He was very impressive with him on Saturday, that he took some really big licks and still got up and kept moving. That's a big thing we've been talking about with the kids there too, is making sure that they're getting the ball back to the official. And they even catch me a couple times during practice when I'm saying get the ball to me, and they run over and hand it to me. And this was a good little catch here by Carter Board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And tied the ball game up with the extra point.
Yep. Here was that last one there. We got it back to him on that punt return that got back down there. I think that's been kind of a bad highlight for us the past couple weeks, is that our defense has played extremely well. We've just put them in bad positions with short fields, but there's not too many times where we've actually had the ball driven down on us the past couple weeks. There's a big 4th down play for us right there, literally drawn up in the dirt. We just went ahead and said, hey, make sure that we're either getting the Schaefer or Myers on that side. And
yes,
we had the matchup that we liked there, and Pearson made a good throw with it. And this is one of the don't throw it. Okay, that ends up well. That's one that scare you there for a second.
Rolling to your right, throwing back to left is not good.
It's good when it ends up like that, though. And here was another kind of same scenario situation. Throwing it up and just happened to be in the right spot to make it. And then right here just didn't get the good blocking and just kind of got swallowed up there at the end. And South Dearborn, I mean, they got a stout defense. They had a lot of good-sized kids. They're coached extremely well. So.
And the kids walking off the field after the game.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge for a head coach in his first year?
So far for me, the biggest one has been trying to get our guys to play more refined. I think a lot of times, especially defensively, they're kind of in this mode of where they want to play hero ball. And they kind of want to run to the ball instead of doing their assignments. And a lot of times on Saturday, that kind of cost us because we ended up in bad positions. And it's not something that they do intentionally. It's just something that you're trying to coach out of them and get out of them to kind of realize, like, hey, you're a cog in the wheel. You're not the wheel. So make sure that you do your assignment. And then I think once we get to that point where everybody kind of realizes where they fit in on running plays and blitzing and everything else, we'll be in a lot better shape.
You have to mold a bunch of kids into a unit that they all think alike.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of, they're getting there too. I mean, that's not anything against them. They've been really good at picking stuff up. I told them when we first came here during the summer that there's an old saying, you have to crawl before you can, or excuse me, you have to run before you can walk. I told them, I said, we're going to crawl before we can walk. Or you got to walk before you can run, so we're going to crawl before we can walk.
Yes.
And it's something too that kind of, with the whole COVID situation, put us back behind the 8 ball a lot, because that's something that you'd really want to try to get done in the spring and try to get done in June. And, we came here in July and we're just then trying to teach them the basic fundamentals of football. I think it was probably 2 or 3 weeks before we actually were in a workouts and we even introduced the football to them. So we're just trying to make sure that we're continuing on that track.
What'd you tell the kids after the ball game Saturday?
Told them I was proud of them. Told them I loved them. I think they played their hearts out. I think if you can take anything away from the past 2 weeks, is that these guys have not given up. They have not. There's been plenty of times too where we could kind of look down and say, "Oh, okay." And especially last Saturday, we're down 13-0. We're not driving the ball offensively. We're getting gashed defensively. And as a first-year head coach, only 2 games in, you're kind of thinking, all right, what's their mentality going to be like here when you're down 2 scores? Because that's an opportunity where a lot of 15, 16, 17-year-old kids would say, it's over. We'll go ahead and just be done. But they have fought tooth and nail. I've been proud of them for fighting that way. And I just tell them that we got to make sure that once we fix those little mistakes, we're going to be a really good ball team.
Right. The warm-up time during the ball game, the other team was on the field quite a while before you appear.
Yeah.
What's your theory? What's your philosophy?
I'm a guy that likes to get out, get going, and make it quick. I've had experiences in the past where I've been a part of teams where they get out there and they're warming up way too long, and especially on a hot Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
I like to get out, get moving, get warm. We do the exact same thing on game days that we do during practice where we get warm. It's just a little bit more of a quicker tempo. I don't like to have them a lot of time where they're out there running around, and I don't like to keep them a lot of time when we come back in after warm-ups and they're sitting in the locker room and thinking and stuff like that. I feel like we work better once we just get there and get moving, and you have less time to think about what may go wrong or what you have to do.
Yes.
It's just focus on what you got to focus on right now at this moment.
That's interesting that you look at it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that comes from me personally, as when I was a player. At East Central, we had like 3 different phases of warm-ups that you would go out, do this, go out, do that. And when I was at, Coach Ballard's an East Central guy, so he kind of has that same mentality. Coach Kanega's at Lawrenceburg. He was with us at East Central. He kind of has that same mentality. I've been with a few teams where I just felt kids were more prepared when they just kind of showed up, got a quick warm-up in, got ready to go.
Rushville comes to town looking for a victory. Mm-hmm. They're 0-4 right now. Have you had a chance to scout the team?
Yeah, we have some films on them. We've looked at them. I still think a very good 0-4 team. Mm-hmm. Offensively, they run a very interesting scheme. It's very divergent from a lot of things that you see. And they've got the number 7 Vance kid who is a threat to score anytime he gets the ball. So defensively, we're going to have our hands full, definitely, with them.
It's certainly a winnable ball game, though, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they haven't won a game and we haven't won a game, so somebody's going to come out with it, right?
Somebody's going to wipe the zebra off.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody will be happy and somebody's going to be searching for that first win. So
4 o'clock starting time, Brent?
4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, and we're still under our voucher system. So unfortunately, if you don't have a voucher from one of our athletes that will get them, then you still won't be able to get in. We're hopefully at some time get that lifted and we'll be back to normal. But whatever normal will now look like at this day and age. So,
speaking of the attendance, I thought the crowd was very good Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, we were able to get more people on our side, and so we had a pretty good sized crowd for us, and we're still safely social distancing as best as we can get everybody in the crowd to do that. So, as long as our, it's kind of hard for our kids because if your county's in the COVID hotspot, then that puts damper on what you can get into the stadium for your kids. And I think our kids at school are doing all they can to stay out of that tracing contact, but then when you go home and people aren't following the same set of rules, and then they get their kids exposed.
Yes.
Then we lose our kids or we lose our crowd because of our fans or our community people that won't wear their mask when they're out and about, and then the numbers stay up, and that causes us a little more problems when we get into the. But that's just how it is today. So hopefully that will get under control and we'll get better, and we can continue to lift the number of people that can come to our game. So our average general fan, who doesn't have a connection to the team other than just loving the Spartans, can come back to the game and get in our facility. So we'll keep trying each week to get more, and some days we'll get lucky, and some weeks we'll be on the short stick. So.
Have you heard from Russia? Will they be sending quite a few people to Spartan?
Well, they'll have their 250 that's allotted right now for their side. So
okay.
I assume they will probably sell all 250 theirs or bring their vouchers to get a ticket at the door. And I appreciate all the people who are understanding as best as they can be, because it is trying when you want to come and watch and you can't get in. But it's also very important that our families of our kids that are participating are there.
Sure.
And for me, I'd love everybody to be there. And hopefully soon we'll be back to that again. So.
Well, hopefully, but it's not around the corner, I don't think.
Not looking that way,
down
but
the road a
I
bit.
think they're going to talk again next week on the 25th, and maybe things will change, but we'll see.
Sure, you never know. Justin, you play, as we say, Rushville, and then you'll be playing Jennings County, taking a trip to North Vernon. Do you know anything about them? They're 3-1, I think, something like that.
Not yet. We actually just traded film with them today, so we'll get our first look. If I remember correctly from seeing them a little bit last year, I know that they were a spread offensive team. I know that it was Coach Sharp's first year last year. He's coming into his second year, but not too much there that we know about him just yet.
I'm double checking. I was wrong on their schedule. They're 0-4 also.
Yes.
Right now. So then you've got 3-1 teams: East Central, Lawrenceburg, Batesville.
Yeah, we definitely got that end of the season gauntlet, and I'm looking forward to it. I think that one of the things that's kind of hurt us here is that we're playing teams that are on game 3 and 4, and we're on game 1 and 2. So we're still kind of working out some kinks. So having that tougher slate of the schedule at the end of the season is actually giving us a chance to kind of figure out ourselves before we get to it.
What school were you at before you came to Connersville?
Before, I was at Lawrenceburg for the last 2 years.
They have quite a stadium down there.
Yeah, it's a neat place to play. It really is. That was a place when I was playing at East Central we always kind of look forward to going down to, just because of the venue and how it was set up and everything.
Artificial turf?
Yes, they've had that for at least 5 or 6 years now, I believe. So.
Do you have a preference to playing on grass or artificial turf?
Personally, I like grass better.
Do you?
Yes, I like it, but I feel it's easier on the kids. I think it's better, too, because a lot of things that people don't think about with artificial turf, especially when it gets hot outside, and there would be times where we go out on the turf, and the turf would be 110, 120 degrees, and we would have to wait for a half hour, an hour to get the heat index down in order to be able to practice. That, too, and I think that I would argue that we have the best grass field in the conference. I think we do a really good job. Brian Edgecombe does a really good job of taking care of that. And with our sectional, we end up playing a lot of those fast teams from Indianapolis that are used to playing on turf. So if they can come out here and slow them down on grass a little bit, we'll go ahead and take that.
All the advantages that you can find.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of you mentioned sectional. When is that drawing by the HSAA for assignments?
It'll be just about a month from now, right in that area, just a little bit before. So.
And Connersville has a pretty good string of winning in the draw.
Seems like that the last 8 years we have hosted the opening round, so we'll see what happens. So.
Well, I want you to continue that, Justin.
Yeah, I hope so too. We hope those ping pong balls fall our way, right?
That's all you can count on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting time, I'm sure. And with no basketball tournament, I'm sure the IHSA is looking for football tournaments. And
well, I think from all of them on the IHSA, they're just ready to try to get our kids being able to participate in the state tournament trail. And last year, unfortunately, after we got halfway through the sectional, or at the end of the sectional, that became a no-go for any sports for the rest of the winter and unfortunately for all of the spring. So hopefully, as long as the numbers continue to trend and things go well and the venues that we have, because we're the only state that plays all of our venues at major stadiums, Lucas Oil and Bankers Life, and then down at IU for the track and field. And baseball's at Victory Field and softball's at the Purdue Stadium, and we run cross country at Indiana State and play volleyball at Ball State and gymnastics at Ball State. And most kids don't understand that most states aren't that. You go to New Hampshire or somewhere in the state finals at some local school out in the middle of the field with just the regular stands and no fanfare, and the trophy's on the table when you walk out there. So I don't think they always appreciate what the IHSA does. They sometimes get disgruntled because they don't get what they want as a student or a family, but you got to remember there's 410 schools that they're trying to tender to and take care of and do the right thing for all of them, not just one or two of them. So, but we're fortunate that the Pacers and the Fever and the Colts are all on board, and then the FC Indy 11 is also part of that with soccer. And I think once they get their new field, then the soccer will probably be held at their stadium. But I can't swear to that, but that's been in the talks. So.
A lot of action on Saturday of last week. Can you bring us up to date, like girls sectional, golf sectional? And
well, girls sectional for golf is this coming Saturday.
Oh,
And that'll be
okay.
at the Elks. So last week we just had a lot of things going on at home with volleyball
Right.
invitational and girls soccer and obviously the football game. So, but the first tournament is this coming Saturday, and girls golf will be traveling to Richmond and teeing it up. So we hope they all play their best round and get in the top three and make it out to the regional as a team. So.
And CHS will be hosting a week from Tuesday, cross country
We have an
invitational.
invitational at home, 22nd. 14 teams currently, unless some of them bail out. Was 15, one's already bailed out on us. And shortly thereafter, we'll host the boys tennis sectional, and then shortly after that, we'll host the girls and boys cross country sectional.
Right. Interesting time coming during the football season. And I know you're looking forward to Friday night taking on Rushville. And that's the Battle of 44.
It's the War on 44.
War on
There's
44.
a traveling trophy, and unfortunately right now the Lions have that in their possession.
Right, so we want to drag that over here, and you have a place for it in the trophy case?
We will.
You've played Rushville before, haven't you, as an assistant coach?
Yeah, we had him as when I was at Lawrenceburg. We played him there.
Okay, right. So another school is kind of struggling right now in trying to get a win, but sort of when you play a rival team, you sort of throw all the records out, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could look at that at any rivalry. At East Central, we had Harrison. At Lawrenceburg, we had South Dearborn. And then when I was at South Dearborn for a year, we had Lawrenceburg. I think when you look at rivalry games, you can never say, like, oh, this team's definitely going to come in here and demolish the other one.
Yes.
It always seems to, draw towards the end, especially last year we had the one where it was all the way to overtime, So, yeah, I definitely think that they're going to put their best foot forward. We'll do the same, and I expect a pretty good game coming Saturday.
I think so. I think it'll be an exciting ball game, and like we talked about earlier, the fans have been in these ball games to the very end.
Yeah, definitely, and we're hoping maybe we'll try to get one here where they don't have to be in it at the end for a good reason instead of a bad reason. So
Be great to have their first win at home, right?
yeah, no, it'd be great to have that first win period. But if you're going to talk their first win at home against a rival,
Yes.
breaking the streak, that's a lot of check marks there. That'll be good.
Right. Well, we hope it will come, and it's been kind of a drought for CHS in the win column in football for a while.
Yeah, I think we're up to 26 in a row now. So
Yes.
I guess at some point you got to win one, right? So we'll get there at some point.
Speaking of the trophy of the Rushville-Connersville game, what is it? Is it a bucket or?
Nope, it's a big trophy about this
okay.
tall. So
You want to drag that home?
I will make sure I drive something big enough to put. I won't have to drag it home. They better
That's
be
right.
bringing it
It'll
over
be
here.
after you win it.
So I'll make sure it's in a safe place once we.
Be sure Rushville brings it with them. Have you reminded
Well, I
them?
hope Melissa remembers that's part of her job. I know one year that somebody forgot it, and when they were over here and had to send their assistant back to Rushville to get it before the game was over. So, but
Coach, I hope you'll excuse me for a minute talking about basketball. Is that okay? Okay. Coach, girls basketball, a new tournament during the holidays? You going to a new place?
yeah, we're going to travel to Western High School about the same time the boys are going to Kokomo. If you don't know where Western is at, it's just on the west side of Kokomo. So we lost a game, so we were able, and we lost 2 games, so we were able to pick up another tournament. So
Who
it's
are some of-
Western, North Decatur.
Okay, I was going to ask you the teams in that.
I knew them all 4 at one time. Us and I want to say Rising Sun, but don't quote me on that one. But I know it's Western, North Decatur, us, and maybe Sheridan. I just can't draw that fourth
Good
one off the
teams.
top of my head. So it'd be a good experience, a
Yes.
different place. And the boys and girls will be close that day because the boys are going back to play in the 2nd annual Phil Cox tournament. And most of the teams are the same. Eastern's out and Western's in the boys. And I think Valpo and the rest of them are still pretty much the same group of teams that were there last year. So it's a good tournament.
Yes.
You know, and the wedding was a good tournament for us for a long time, and it still may be, but we were starting to get teams on the wedding that we see during the regular season, and we don't really want to be in tournaments where we're going to play people more than once, you know, and have to play them again, and then in the sectional you might have to play them again, so you could play them 3 times in the same season is not good. So,
Justin, what is a coach, why is he maybe against playing a team multiple times in the season?
Well, you always got that second time to come around and fix your mistakes from the first time, too. That's kind of a big thing that I'm kind of happy here with, that our conference is not in our sectional. So, you know, South Dearborn's a 4A team. The only opportunity that we would see them again would be semi-state, just because of the way things match up. So kind of the same thing for us is that, you know, we only get one look at them, they only get one look at us. So our sectional teams aren't going to get a chance to play us. Outside of Richmond was the only one that we would play during the regular season, but that game got canceled. So
Yes. Back to basketball, the boys have a new team on the schedule, Noblesville, replacing Muncie Central.
yeah, actually I have a couple. Couldn't work out a deal with Muncie Central on the date they wanted to have it, and Noblesville was willing to show up down here for this year, which is good. And then after we inked another deal with North Central, and then of course unfortunately their AD passed away back in March, and they needed to break the contract because they had the opportunity to get in a tournament they had been trying to get in. So we picked up Jennings County. And Jennings County is going to come to us for all 4 years. So that's a good win. That's a good win-win for us. So
Right.
So we got 2 new ones on the schedule.
Have we ever played Noblesville?
Yeah, we used to be in an Olympic conference together, so it's been a while.
I didn't realize that.
But we used to play them.
Yeah. They're usually a pretty strong team, aren't they?
Yeah, they're one of those schools that are growing. If you've never been to a school, it's kind of big, and it's very nice on the inside and expands pretty well across the campus. So, but it's grown from what it used to be when we first started playing them. I remember playing them in football, and we were at the football field, which is just on the north side of a McDonald's, and in the headsets we were picking up the orders from the McDonald's window. We were trying to order a Big Mac, but it didn't work. But so just feeling unique. Of course, headsets are so much better now than they were 25 years ago when we were wearing them. So I'm sure we could have found a channel now that wouldn't have been on the same frequency as the McDonald's drive-thru.
Well, Coach Jackson, it's been a pleasure to have you on the program today, and I know the kids are responding well. That's obviously when you watch them play, and the best of luck here coming up Friday and the remaining of the season.
I appreciate it very much.
We only have a couple of home games, so I know you'll do the best to get all the fans in there. That
we're getting as many as we're allowed to put in there. We can get the vouchers out too. So
yeah.
So we just have a home game this weekend, and our next home game won't be until October 2nd. Hopefully by then we'll have our new light up, so we'll be playing on a Friday night for the first time at home.
Yeah, it's unusual to play on a Saturday afternoon.
And that will be senior night for us as well. So we'll introduce the football seniors prior to the game, and then we'll do the band and the cheerleaders and the Spartan seniors at halftime.
And it's still scheduled for later this month, the repairs?
They tell me that they're going to be up by September 23rd.
Well, that's not too far away.
Just around the corner. So it's supposed to start on the 22nd and be up by the 23rd is what they tell me.
Very good.
But you know how construction goes. We'll wait and see.
Oh, yes. All right. Things do happen, the unexpected things. But we really need lights. I mean, you just don't play in the daylight.
Not unless you're in college.
Yeah.
The old college Saturday afternoon day.
Did the kids adapt pretty well?
Yeah, they handled it well. I mean, it was a little bit different. We had to restructure the way we do practice and everything during the week. But, you know, I think they handled it really well. They're a resilient group. So.
Right. Justin, we hope you have a long and successful career here at CHS.
Thank you very much.
And it's been a pleasure having you. And Brent, thanks for bringing Justin with you. And I know you're headed now for the
going back for film session.
Time.
Yep. We're gonna fix some mistakes from Saturday. So.
Okay. Well, I'm sure the kids will respond well to your instructions. And you've got a good assistant crew and everything. And again, we thank Brent. Thanks for coming. And Justin, of course, thanks for coming. A pleasure to meet you. And I know the fans are happy to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Fran.
Thanks, everybody, for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. Good evening.